Hello and welcome to the next episode of YYC Business Speaks. Today we have Eleanor Culver and she is the president of RealHR. Hi, Eleanor.
Hi, Julia. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm enjoying the warmer weather.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome, isn't it? I love
Yep.
it.
Yeah,
Cool. Are you cool if we just get started?
sure.
Okay, good. Tell me a bit about your business.
Well, it's what we do at Real HR is I have a small team. I have two full-time staff and then plus me, as well as a part-time person that I bring in kind of just when we've got peak work loads going on. But what we do is we act as outsourced HR departments for small to medium-sized businesses. Not just in Calgary. We actually have some clients right across the country. We have one that's headquartered in London.
Wow.
But our kind of claim to fame, if you will, is we really do become part of your organization. So people externally don't really know that we're not your HR full time. And your employees start to trust and lean on us just as they would an in-house HR department.
Cool. How long have you been doing this for?
I started in HR 31 years ago. But I started Real HR in May 2009. So it'll be 12 years coming up in May. And I really started it because, Julia, I was working full time. I was vice president of an oil field services company, HR.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was doing on the evenings and weekends were helping out my entrepreneurial friends who weren't big enough to need a full-time HR resource, but really did need some help. You know, when you're a company of maybe 20 people and all of a sudden one of your key salespeople has announced that, you know, she's pregnant and going on maternity leave in 6 months' time. If you haven't run into that before, you're kind of at a loss as to where to start. And what I found was a lot of my kind of colleagues that had their own businesses were downloading things from the internet that were really not appropriate for Alberta. And so I was able to help them out. And then after a while, there was enough because word of mouth got around that I would help people out. Next thing I know, I was kind of doing two full-time jobs.
Wow.
And then I said to one of my friends, hey, is this something you would pay for? And she said, yeah, of course. And I thought, why haven't I asked before? So that's kind of how it started. And the timing was interesting because in 2008, 2009, there was a downturn in the economy that
Mm-hmm.
hit Calgary kind of hard. And we ended up selling our oil field services company to Calfrac. And so that was just a really good opportunity for a transition for me to
Mm.
try my hand at my own business. And I've never looked back.
Yeah. So it was a
I've questioned
natural
my
shift.
sanity. Yeah. I've questioned my sanity sometimes when you're working really long hours, but I absolutely love it. I love what I do. I love sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's good. That's great sharing.
Yeah. The thing that everyone at Real HR really loves is the pragmatic problem solving piece of what we do. It's not the type of HR that you may be used to in a larger company where every HR person has their own little discipline.
Mm.
You know, I only deal with benefits or things like that. We get kind of a broad range of things that we handle. And what we really love is the problem solving, being able to, you know, take that phone call from somebody who's in a panic because they've just received a letter from a lawyer, you know, someone's alleging that they were wrongfully dismissed and they don't know what to do. And us being able to walk them through and help put their mind at ease. And we've got a process and we'll get through it. It's really interesting. I like it.
Hmm. Cool. It sounds like you'd have some really great people to work with and all that. And you'd probably hear
Yeah.
some really interesting cases for sure.
Yeah, and our clients are really people that are passionate about their businesses. And there's nothing wrong with not being passionate about the HR side of your business. You know, if you got into business because you say love millwork, right? And that's really your jam.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing if you don't really love dealing with the employees that are calling in sick all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. So
Yeah.
who's your target client? That being said.
So effectively, our target client is basically anyone less than 125 employees, because around about 125 employees is where you can really benefit from having a full-time HR resource in-house. Under that, you don't need somebody full-time. And one way to think of kind of our business model is that we're almost like, not a timeshare, but I guess a bit of a timeshare, where you pay a flat fee based on how many employees you have, and we just handle your HR for you. So it's kind of like sharing an HR department with kind of other people in your kind of space in terms of your size of business.
Yeah, very
I don't know
cool.
if that makes any sense.
That
Yeah.
that definitely made sense.
Okay.
What's the
Are
greatest
we editing
impact?
this later?
Yeah. What's the greatest impact the pandemic has had on your business?
Oh, it has allowed me to actually grow. So as you can probably tell, I started this business in a downturn. And then when COVID hit, one of the things that we did for our kind of clients initially, and then I started offering it to everyone, was we put together a pretty comprehensive Excel workbook. One of my employees can program in, I don't know if it's DBA or it's some weird language, but it means that in Excel, you can actually make dashboards and things. So we put together this COVID worksheet that helped people really understand whether it was more cost effective to lay people off temporarily, or whether it was more effective to do the wage subsidy. And so initially I put that out, and I did flow charts and things like that for COVID. What do you do when an employee calls in and says that, they've been exposed? It's really just a yes, no kind of template, like a fishbone diagram. But we sent that out to our clients, and we had such good response from our clients that I put the word out, in my building, in the Beltline, that I would offer this to anyone free, just to help get them through that first stage of COVID.
Yeah.
And that was really the intention, just to help people just be able to get through that initial session.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening is, I think, word got out that we are this kind of pragmatic HR firm. So in terms of the impact of COVID on us, I was able to add another member to our team.
Mm.
And we're actually looking now to bring on a summer student. And we're talking with Mount Royal about their co-op program to see if
Wow.
we can't kind of form a partnership there. And I'm a big proponent of the co-op program at Mount Royal, especially in HR. People get, hands-on experience. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So pretty much right off the bat, you did a pivot and you offered something to be
Yeah.
of service to anyone who needed it. And that really made a difference for your business.
100% it did. And I do find that that's kind of the way we approach most things. I will often get a phone call from somebody who's got a pain point in their business. Something has happened and they don't know what to do from an HR standpoint. Typically, I will talk to them on the phone, and we'll kind of get them a game plan, or at least allow them to talk through it and figure out what the next steps are. We don't charge for that kind of thing, right? That's just helping. And then if somebody so chooses, if they like that experience with us, if they then choose to come back to us, we can put together a formal proposal and that type of thing. But I find that oftentimes it's just that quick conversation to let somebody know, point them in the right direction. I also refer to employment lawyers quite a bit. I have quite a good relationship with a few employment lawyers in town, and they will refer to me as well. So I know when it's appropriate to pass on a case to an employment lawyer. And these employment lawyers that I deal with, if they see that somebody's coming to them for just regular HR stuff, they'll also, refer back to me. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what we call strategic alliances.
Yeah.
Right. People that you can refer to, or they can refer to you, and you're not in direct competition with them.
Exactly.
So that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. It's been said that smart people learn from their own mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what are one or two mistakes that you've made along the way that other entrepreneurs can learn from?
So one of the things I did do was, there's a difference between a phone call and putting together a very detailed plan of what you're going to do for someone. When I first started my business, I did put together, very detailed proposals. And what I found was happening was it was so detailed, the person got the proposal and went, oh, I can do this. And then they just followed all the steps that I put out for them. And at least they were honest with me. They said, well, when I got your proposal, it just made sense. So I just started, checking things off. I was like, okay. So I've learned to be a little more general in my proposals. That's one thing I learned from. The other thing I've learned from is genuinely so much can be gained from having the courage to have a conversation with a client when maybe it's come to the natural end of your cycle. So typically we engage with our clients for an initial 2-year kind of stint. And in that 2 years, we can get all their systems, their structures and everything in place. And we can also provide enough ongoing kind of training and development to supervisors and employees that they should be able to, or they could run their HR regular day-to-day stuff on their own at the end of the 2-year period.
Yeah.
And if they choose to keep us on, great. But I think initially I would take it very personally when that natural end to our relationship came. I'd be hurt, right? It would be like being dumped.
Oh no, another breakup.
Totally. And now I just really understand, my commitment is that there's a value exchange, that they're getting value for what they're paying me, right?
Yeah.
Or my staff. And so when that value exchange isn't equivalent, then it becomes it's a business decision. And I have great completion conversations with my clients saying, hey, listen, don't worry about it, because I find they get more upset than I do.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to frame it as this is a business decision. Down the road, you may have a special need for, some lunch and learn series or something like that. We can do that for you. You know us, you trust us, we're here for you. And then we just go into an ad hoc. But that was that took me years to learn, actually.
Yeah.
And even still, sometimes the first reaction tends to be, oh.
Yeah. That's powerful, especially when you are in the service industry and not a product industry when it comes to business. So for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Where can people find you, Eleanor?
We are, in terms of our website, it's www.realhr.ca. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn as well. But physically, we have an office in the Beltline. We are in the Sunrise building on the corner of 11th Avenue and 5th Street Southwest. And so we are heading back to the office probably 3 days a week. But you can get a hold of us at any of those kind of media sites as well.
Awesome. And where can they find, so what's your handle on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn?
It's all RealHR.
Okay.
Everything is realhr.ca. So LinkedIn, it's RealHR, Instagram, it's RealHR, and Facebook, it's RealHR too.
Perfect. Nice and easy across the board then.
Yep. Boring.
Boring's not always bad.
Oh, thanks.
Is there anything that you'd like to offer our viewers?
Yeah. So, I was talking about how we do kind of those initial phone calls where I might be able to just, talk you through kind of whatever issue you're facing or give you a different perspective. So if you'd like to call, my number or our kind of general line is 1-888-REAL-HR1. We're consistent.
I love it.
But I'd be happy to take, a kind of gratuitous or a free kind of initial phone call, somewhere around that 15-minute period. Just if you've got something that you've always been wondering, something that's maybe been bugging you, by all means, give us a ring.
1-888-REAL-HR1.
Yeah.
Right. And I assume they can find that on your website in case they get lost along the way.
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. One last question for you then. What's most inspiring to you today?
What's most inspiring to me today is like genuinely all the business owners that are managing to find a way to keep their businesses afloat right now. it's no small thing to have your house on the line, have, the livelihoods of people depending on you being able to keep your business open. And I've just been so inspired by the way in which Calgarian businesses have pivoted and haven't just kind of gone, oh, well, we tried.
Yeah.
I see the creativity in Calgary, and it's so impressive. So I'm inspired by that,
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think the creativity is showing more and more as we deal with more adversity through the ups and the downs throughout the last number of years. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Eleanor, for joining us on the YYC Business Speak show. Yeah. And so for anyone that wants to find her, she's RealHR on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, realhr.ca.
Yeah.
1-888 RealHR1.
I'm consistent. Thank you so much for having me, Julia. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll talk to you later, Eleanor.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia.
Bye.
Bye.